The story that I want to share with you today is my story and the story of almost 50 million of people who lived through almost 60 years of armed conflict in my country, Colombia. The longest war of the region, with 12% as direct victims. Tomorrow I will turn 38 years old and I have never lived in a country in peace. On the contrary, I have seen how the armed conflict devastated the dreams of thousands, 18,000 children recruited for war. So nevertheless, there's something we didn't lose. It's sport. In the middle of the armed conflict, the people in the community were looking for a way to practice sport. And the reason for that they kept the sport is because it's the unique space where the people kept dreaming, and unique space where the people didn't lose sight of common goal. The main challenge of international group for peace is recover the value of the life in the territories that are more affected by the armed conflict. We seek to strengthen the capability of individual, of community for the reconstructions of peace in society that has traditionally used the violence like a means to resolve the conflict. Sport is a form of peaceful resistance. It is a way to face pain and act, to build bridges and trust, to cooperate. This is a way to interrupt the intergenerational cycle of violence. So we designed a series of strategies for that. First is the resignification of community spaces. One of the most awful acts of violence suffered by the victims in my country is that the combatant of illegal groups cut the heads of the victims and play soccer with this in the community field spaces. In the other cases, these actors took control of this space to the illegal activities or to selling drugs. And obviously, this created a fear-filled perception of the spaces, public spaces, in the mind of the people. And these sporting fields were abandoned for community. And we need to recover the true meaning of the fields as a space for life, as a space for education, as a space for community meetings, as a space for living the human rights. In this sense, the people of the community act as stakeholders in the ludic meetings of the neighborhood in order to recover fields that used to be used for unhealthy and violent practice. Participatory reflection is sport fields in promoting to re-signify the meaning of these public spaces. Today, we have accompanied the community to go out and transform 128 spaces to appropriate these spaces and remember that as places for life and not for death. Another strategy is the tournament for peace. One of the irrefutable consequences of the conflict is overappreciation of power figures that are part of armed conflict and promote violence as means to achieve the goals. This is one of the benefits of the sport. It is able to position itself a new community reference, a lifestyle for young people, and the values it promotes, with emphasis on collective welfare of athletes and transform the negative role models into community. So far, we have made more than 500 tournaments for peace in Colombia. And finally, training. The training is one of the most effective ways to strengthen abilities and skills in the children to learn to manage their emotions, to be aware of others, resolve conflict, develop critical thinking, and cooperate. Because in sport we find many symbols that allow us to compare the game with life, while the participant is motivated to learn by playing. So they learn by doing, they learn by feeling, and therefore they increase the likelihood that such learning will spread to different areas, become useful, applicable, and add value in their life and in their communities. We equip the coach with a toolkit to train the children in social skills and abilities to will contribute to restoring trust and social bonds. Something important is that we don't open new process. We look for initiatives that the community has and support it, transferring our methodology of sport for peace until the capacity is installed in the territories and the coaches and community leaders are prepared to carry out the process by themselves. After 3 years, the coaches are certificated as peace leaders. We are not different. We have to remember that we are the same human race, and sport is the door to the memory. I invite all who believe in the power of sport to join this cause. We invite you to dream together. Many thanks.